if someone is not interested in PvP, and I think I know the answer to this, but if they're not interested in PvP, does Arc Raiders have anything to offer them?
What's up, Raiders? Buffalo here. Yesterday, SkillUp released an interview with the executive producer of Arc Raiders, Alexander Grundal. It's about 40 minutes long. I'll leave a link to it down below in the description if you want to watch the whole thing, which I suggest you do. He talks about a lot of very important things. In this video, we're going to cover what he mentions about PvE, if you'll be able to enjoy this game if you're only interested in the PvE and not in the PvP. He talks about that. He talks about why they initially changed from a PvE only game to an extraction shooter, and also some mentions of possible new PvE Arc enemies coming as soon as this December. Stay tuned, subscribe down below so we can get to the 1,000 subs to get monetized. Everything truly helps. We're also building a community of people who can go in, play together, get PvE activities done, like defeating the Queen, doing the Harvester event, things like that. So make sure you're subscribed to get into that community if you're looking for other people to play with. Let's get into it. So this first bit I'm going to show you here is his response to SkillUp asking him why they initially pivoted from PvE only to a PvPvE extraction shooter. A lot of great insights here, straight from the executive producer. Let's check it out.
So actually, I was brought on board right before we did that change. So you could say I was probably a reason for the change to happen in the first place. But me aside, the reality was that the game that we built when I first started here, it wasn't consistently fun. It certainly had some really strong moments and cool to be fighting these large robots. But the problem is that when we kept coming back to the game again and again and again and trying to grind and make it didn't really gel in the way that I think that you or any other players would have found any fun or so the product wasn't there. The ideas were there and some execution were there, but there wasn't a game there in that I believe had the legs that it needs to have in this environment. So we started mapping out all the weaknesses and strengths of the game, and I made this massive Miro board, which is like a way, put out posters virtually with everybody, and we were trying to kind of take, okay, where do we take this game from here? And we knew that PvP probably had to be part of it because a lot of our DNA comes with PvP, and we felt like too much focus on the PvE isn't as on the robots themselves. Only focusing on them is basically the same problem we've been having all along. So we knew we needed to make this game about something that was PvPvE. That came clear pretty early. So we mapped out all the strengths, and we wanted to keep as much as possible. So Arc Raider was already announced. The IP was out there. It had an interesting world, and people really resonated with the characters and the visuals and the themes around it. So we knew we wanted to maintain all the positives, but then letting go of some of the focus on the negative side. So a lot of us were big fans of extraction shooters. And me particularly, but also Stefan, who's the creative director. Both me and him and a few other people have been spending too many hours playing extraction shooters and other survival games, by the way. So we were really fan about the mix where players and Arc is kind of, or players and AI meet. That was something that is magical in our opinion, and still think has not really come to its full potential. Together with other players and the AIs themselves, there was a mix that we knew that we wanted to go for that on the extraction shooter side. But we also knew at that point that we didn't want to build a game that was super hardcore either. We knew we wanted to build a game that was a bit more approachable because some of the tension that you can get in those games is so good, and we believe that some of the games are so difficult that feeling on the tension that you can get from playing some of those games is something that I don't think many players will get to feel in those games. So we wanted to make sure that we could build a game where other people also could get the sense of that tension and excitement that genre can bring to the table. So that kind of was the starting point, you could say, for the reset, as we like to call it.
Yeah.
All right, so there's a lot to dig into there. I think one of the first big takeaways, he mentioned it at the beginning and at the end, and the fact of the matter is this is just what they're good at. They're former DICE devs mainly, responsible for the glory days of Battlefield PvP, and this is what they're good at, this is what they know, and this is what they like to play as well. So I think it makes sense to work within your wheelhouse. I also think the PvP works and makes sense in this game anyways. I don't think it doesn't feel like they're forcing the PvP into the game just because that's what they want and that's what they need. That wasn't the only main driving factor, like he said. It just wasn't doing well in their playtests. There wasn't enough excitement every single time. There wasn't enough enjoyment every single time. And as somebody who came into this game looking for primarily a PvE experience, by the end of the server slam, I fully embraced the PvP. I already understand why it's there, and I think the game is better because of it. Especially in trios, the PvE can be a lot easier when you've got 3 people in a team shooting all the bots. You really need that other element to really spice it up. And like he mentioned, this is in their DNA. This is what they do. They're very, very good at it, and the PvP is very good in the game. They already spent so much time making amazing PvE, and then they added their DNA and their background of this amazing PvP, and it's got both. It's got both. So I don't see that as a negative. Some people who want PvE only may see that as a negative. I also really liked what he said about bringing an experience like an extraction shooter to a wider audience, because it seems like that's what's going to be happening here. That's what happened with me. I was never open to the idea of something like Tarkov. I started getting kind of interested when I saw people play Cycle the Frontier because it had a cool PvE kind of world. And now, with how dynamic and immersive they have made this world, how good they've made the PvE, how well the PvP fits, I did experience those moments for the first time. As somebody who's been gaming for almost 38 years, I did experience those moments for the very first time because they have successfully made a game that can provide that experience to a wider audience. More people are going to be able to enjoy that tension and those moments because of what they've made here. And without the PvP, you wouldn't get that. However, he does think that if you're not interested in the PvP at all, you can still have a good time playing this game. So let's hear what he has to say about that here.
But if they're not interested in PvP, does Arc Raiders have anything to offer them?
Certainly, I would say so.
Okay.
So while PvP is a part of the game, the AI is also very much part of the game, and you can choose to some degree what your engagement level with the arcs and the players will be. I'm saying this, of course, because I built the thing, but you can also hear that echoed from some of the community feedback that we're seeing out there.
Okay.
That even players who didn't think they would like this sort of genre can go in there and get something because the game has something around the immersion or tension and being and meeting other players doesn't always end in conflict, for instance. So I would say it has a lot to offer. If you look at it at what it is, not necessarily using extraction shooter as a kind of a hand wavy, it's this type of game, but because I don't think it is, and I don't think the feedback says that it just is that either. So I would recommend you to kind of look at some of the creators that are out there and make up your own mind. But also, playing solo versus squads is very different. It seems more friendly when you're playing solos, actually. Interestingly enough, people seem to be more interested in helping each other while playing solo.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
And there's no queue, there's no like PvE queue, is there? Like, you guys aren't offering that at launch, correct?
No,
like
we're not.
No, okay. No, so as in, okay, right, fair enough. Just in case, right, cool.
I love everything he's saying here. He's not trying to lie to you. He's saying to a certain degree, you can choose. Sometimes other people are going to force PvP upon you. Sometimes the ARC are going to force PvE upon people who just want a PvP. But at the end of the day, they've put so much love and tender care into the immersion, into the feel, into the world, that it's so much about this experience that it really is a game that is more open to other people. And if you're somebody who's just like, I don't want to play extraction shooters, I don't like extraction shooters, if that's your mindset and you have that hand wavy, like he said, approach to it, you're going to miss out on something that you could potentially really, really enjoy. Going into the playtest, into the server slam, I had that exact mentality of, oh, extraction shooter, I don't want to lose my loot, yada yada, I just want the PvE, the whole thing. But the experience, the different scenarios, the alliances, the narratives, the stories, the interactions, everything that can occur in this game, the PvP adds so much to it. And like he said, you can avoid it if you really want to a certain degree. Also, as we mentioned before, and as he mentioned here in this clip, solo is very PvE friendly. You're basically, the arc are so tough, you're basically gonna need to team up with other people to defeat them if you are solo. It's definitely the best approach. So, and there's already so many clips just from the server slam of people getting almost entire servers of 18 people teamed up to go against the Queen. So I think there's a lot of people embracing the PvE, especially in solos. With the matchmaking, they're going to focus on ensuring that if you're loading in as a solo, you're going to get paired up with other solos. So like I said, we're going to be trying to build a community of people who want to play together to accomplish PvE activities. If you want to PvP too, completely fine. But also, most solo players, if you're just looking for a good PvE experience, you're going to be able to find it here in this game. As he says in this clip, people who don't even think they're going to like this genre can come in and get something out of it. And that's why I love this clip. Everything he says in this clip, I feel to be true because I experienced it. I had the hand-wavy notion about extraction shooters. I thought I wasn't going to be able to get something from the PvP experience, and then boom, a couple days later, I found that it enriched the experience and made it even better. So if you're looking for a solid PvE experience, I think you'll be able to find it very consistently in solos. If you're looking for a PvE experience in a group, make sure to subscribe. We're going to start a Discord soon as I can get that all straightened out and set up. So make sure you're subbed here to get a part of that, be a part of that community. And now let's see what he has to say about possible new arcs coming to the game, new PvE enemies coming possibly as soon as this December.
Yeah, so our ambition is to keep these updated on a consistent basis with new content, maps, and arcs, and quests, and all things, new systems and things. We have a pretty ambitious post-launch plan for the game, and we'll see. Maybe we'll see something before Christmas that has something to do with the mentioned Stella Montis. Okay. Maybe sure. There might be more arcs abound shortly, but definitely will be a couple of bigger updates before the New Year's, and the next year is kind of being planned out right now. So we'll have a roadmap that hopefully we can go live with in a couple of days. I can explain this a bit more in detail, but things are a bit in flight still. As it should be.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair.
This part was very exciting for me to hear. We've got, especially as a PvE focused player, we've got new missions, new quests, all of that planned out, and possibly new enemies coming as soon as a month and a half from now in December. Also mentions of Stella Montis, the new map. There's some way we're going to have to unlock it. So it looks like they've got a really long roadmap planned out for this game, and he mentioned we might actually get to see that roadmap here soon, which is even more exciting. I'll be making sure to post a video on that the second it comes out, as soon as I see it. Make sure you're subbed, like the video for the algorithm, comment if you've got any input or thoughts that you'd like to share. Appreciate you guys very much. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.